In the morning, I had just obtained the marriage certificate with the Crown Prince of the Beijing Circle, but in the afternoon, he brought me to get a divorce. I stood frozen in place, clutching the red and green certificates, surrounded by the unrestrained mockery of his friends. Julian, just because of one word from Iris, you really brought the young miss to marry and divorce? Haha, look at the young miss's face turning pale. She's not going to cry, is she? However, Julian embraced his foster sister Iris, his tone gentle. Now that we have both certificates, will you finally smile at me? Iris let out a pft, and a smile bloomed on her cool face. I wanted to step forward to question them, but I was firmly held back by my 3 brothers. The CEO eldest brother frowned. Only Julian can make Iris laugh, show some virtue. The actor's second brother pushed me to the ground. Her background is pitiful, you have good conditions and don't lack this one man. The biology professor third brother darkened his face. Julian should have married her long ago, don't entangle them anymore. They forcibly stuffed me into the car, not allowing me to hinder the happiness of the white moonlight in their hearts. The long-lost system has finally activated. Host, the quest has been completed. Shall we return to the mortal realm immediately? I sat in the back seat, melancholically gazing out the window, nearly bursting into laughter. This bitter drama performed for the task was finally over. From now on, I would no longer accompany their entanglements of love and hate. Detected, Shen Brothers' romance meter with the male lead has reached 95%. Mission to marry Julian, the male lead, completed. Congratulations, host, on completing the mission. Upon the death of your physical body, you may return to the mortal world and receive a 100 million reward. Bone cancer cured. I suppressed the wild joy in my heart. Finally, I could go back. The eldest and third brothers stayed to accompany Iris, sending the second brother to escort me home. I subconsciously looked at the second brother beside me, Lucas. Since getting in the car, he had a dark face, reluctant. When Iris sent a message, he finally showed a smile. Noticing my gaze, he immediately turned off his phone and frowned. What? Still not giving up? Still thinking of going back to ruin Julian and Iris? Iris is young and has suffered so much, why can't you let her go? I tightly pinched my fingers and smiled self-mockingly. In terms of age, I was 1 year younger than Iris. Probably seeing my poor complexion, the second brother suddenly sighed, apologized to Iris for this matter, don't be too willful. He reached out to touch my head, but I gently avoided it and asked, why should I apologize? Where did I go wrong? The second brother's hand paused, impatiently saying, Mia. Don't be ungrateful. I closed my eyes. Even if it was for the task, over these years, there had been some feelings. I had truly been heartbroken by their attitudes before. But now, everything was over. After Iris's competition ends this time, come with us to apologize to her. I said nothing more, only confirming inwardly with the system, as long as this body dies, I can go back, right? Yes. I slowly exhaled, observing the surroundings from the window. After confirming it wouldn't harm others by mistake, I unlocked the door and yanked it open fiercely. The second brother, who had been chattering incessantly, cried out in alarm, Mia, what are you doing? I ignored him and jumped out without hesitation. The cold wind whistled across my cheeks, and a tremendous sense of weightlessness came. I closed my eyes tightly, without the slightest fear. But in the next second, I felt my waist being fiercely embraced. I was protected in someone's arms, falling toward the vegetation at the edge of the asphalt road. Amid the spinning world, I heard a muffled groan. The two of us rolled awkwardly a few times and stopped. The person holding me was scratched bloody by branches, but I was unharmed. I looked up, meeting the second brother's terrified face, and said calmly, let go. The second brother stared at my nonchalant face and roared, didn't I just say a few words to you? Jumping out of the car over such a trivial matter, we've really spoiled you. It's to get our attention again, right? Put away your little schemes. I ignored him and pried his hands apart. Rising to my feet, I scanned the area and spotted a black car speeding toward us. I crashed into it myself. Remember to get it repaired for the owner, I said before lunging toward the vehicle. Mia. The second brother roared in despair, struggling to stand, but it was still too late. I was full of hope, anticipating death. Although I would soon die upon returning to the real world, I didn't want to stay in this world for even one more second. The braking sound was sharp, and the black car actually stopped abruptly. I stumbled backward a few steps, falling into my second brother's arms as he rushed forward. You're crazy. Mia, have you really lost your mind? The second brother's eyes were red, his fingers stroking my cheeks and shoulders. Did you get hit? Does it hurt anywhere? Speak. Having failed to die again, I lowered my eyes in full disappointment. My gaze fell on the second brother's leg. His pant leg was already soaked with blood. It was obviously a serious injury, still dripping blood continuously. If it were before, I would have cried uncontrollably, wishing to take his place. But at this moment, I just indifferently shifted my gaze away. What? Do I even need your approval to die? The second brother froze in disbelief. I sneered, bypassing him to walk toward the grumbling black car driver. I'll transfer the compensation money to you later. The second brother clenched his fists tightly, the corners of his eyes turning red. I was surprised, then realized, oh, I didn't use the Shin family's money, I used what I earned myself. Mia. He interrupted me intolerably. But I actually saw a trace of grievance on his face. You are the only young miss of the Shin family, even if the entire Shin family is given to you, second brother would have no objections. I found it somewhat ridiculous, looking into his eyes. Is that so? His body trembled, as if just realizing. Now, the nominal young miss of the Shin family is Iris. And I, the real Shin family miss, am nothing but a notorious delusional. I laughed unrestrainedly, but tears fell. Once, I was inseparable from the second brother, he even took me with him when filming. But now, he only has a cold face, ordering me to yield to Iris in everything. The second brother dragged me into the car, hanging his head. Once Iris wins the physics award, we'll announce that you are the real Shin family young miss. Everything before was just a misunderstanding. I couldn't be bothered to respond, turning my head to the car window. The scenery outside receded continuously, fleeting in an instant. Before transmigrating, I was an orphan. During a physical examination, I was diagnosed with bone cancer. Lying on the hospital bed, I fainted from the intense pain, and when I opened my eyes again, the system had sent me to this world, turning me into a 6-year-old child. A voice echoed in her mind, reach 80 points in the romance meter with the Shin brothers and the male lead Julian, then marry Julian to claim the 100 million prize and return to the real world. After that, there was a sizzling noise, and I almost thought it was an illusion. But being able to live again and obtain a healthy body wasn't a bad thing. The car drove steadily, with the second brother gripping my wrist tightly. His fingertips gently rubbed the back of my hand, in the way he used to soothe me when I had insomnia. As an orphan, I had once coveted this favoritism. I even thought of abandoning the task to stay. But after the orphan Iris I brought back appeared, all the gentleness became her exclusive. I went from acting spoiled and sulking to desperate hysteria. In the end, it only earned me, stop making a fuss, look at what you look like now. The car stopped at the Shin family gate. I shook off the second brother's hand and got out. The second brother called me in disbelief. Mia, second brother is injured, and it's for you. I interrupted him expressionlessly. If injured, go see a doctor. What's the use of telling me? Pushing open the Shin family door, the first thing I saw was Iris on the sofa, surrounded like stars around the moon. Eldest brother Ethan had a somewhat serious face, coldly punching Julian's shoulder. Iris worried for you for 3 whole days, not eating or sleeping well. How exactly did you take care of her? Iris hurriedly intervened. Eldest brother, third brother, I'm really fine now. It was all a misunderstanding, cleared up is good. I stood at the door, appreciating their deep sibling affection. Host, detected a decrease in your dopamine levels. The system's inorganic voice was somewhat low. So host, are you very sad right now? The system's words nearly drew out my tears. I awkwardly wiped the moisture from the corners of my eyes. My second brother walked over to me, about to speak, when Iris suddenly cried out and rushed toward him. "Second brother, how did you get so badly injured?" "You." Her words weren't finished when I stepped forward and slapped her, interrupting. Iris covered her swollen half-face, looking at me in disbelief. Almost simultaneously, I was knocked to the ground by a palm wind. Eldest brother pointed at me, full of anger. "Mia. We've really spoiled you. Apologize to Iris." I lay awkwardly on the ground, spitting out the blood in my mouth. Apologize? What exactly did I do wrong? I've become a twice-married abandoned woman, and I still can't hit the mistress? Eldest brother grew even angrier, his voice suddenly rising. "What nonsense are you talking? Iris and Julian were originally a pair, you insisted on inserting yourself. How could I have such a shameless sister?" I laughed out loud. "Shameless? Julian is my fiancé, now I become the interloper." Julian stared at me coldly. "Our engagement was dissolved long ago. The Xie family will never want a woman with a notorious reputation like you." Third brother Noah dragged me up from the ground. "Mia. Apologize." I said nothing, my gaze sweeping over the people in front of me. Eldest brother's eyes were indifferent, third brother's face full of disgust, Julian even more wishing for my death. Second brother frowned, his lips moved, but in the end, he said nothing. Just like a year ago, Iris, who frequently contacted the second brother, was treated as an illegitimate fan by fans. Second brother couldn't bear it and revealed Iris's identity as the Shin family young miss on Weibo. And I, the real young miss, had to bear the infamy for Iris. "You have bodyguards accompanying you everywhere, Iris is alone." I was shocked, resisted, cried, and made a fuss. At that time everyone's looks at me were just like today. With only unspeakable fatigue left in my heart, I no longer had the strength to argue. I shook off the third brother's hand, rushed into the living room, and picked up the fruit knife on the table. The second brother wanted to rush over in terror, but Iris hugged his arm. "Mia, what are you going to do?" I looked at Iris, grinning. "I'm apologizing." Without looking again at the eldest brother, third brother, and Julian who were as if facing a great enemy, I raised my hand and neatly stabbed the knife into my chest. Screams echoed in waves. I laughed and cried, "I've paid with my life for her. Is that enough? Are you satisfied now?" Warm, viscous blood gushed out wildly. The dizziness from blood loss made me unsteady on my feet. Amidst the indistinguishable shrieks, my darkening vision caught the terror etched on several men's faces. My second brother lunged forward, clutching my body, and screamed like a madman, "Call an ambulance." Amid the strong smell of disinfectant, I opened my eyes. The all-white view excited me somewhat. Had I successfully returned? I tilted my head, meeting the eldest brother's bloodshot eyes. I closed my eyes irritably. The eldest brother's hoarse voice made me feel noisy for the first time. "Mia. Who taught you to seek death to gain attention?" I grew even more irritable, something under my head was uncomfortably poking. I reached out and pulled it out. It was a somewhat worn peace amulet. It was from when I was 12, with a high fever for a whole week, the hospital issuing critical condition notices 3 times. Third brother knelt step by step, climbing 1,000 stairs, to beg for this peace amulet for me. Later, when Iris was injured, third brother took it and gave it to her. Now it was back in my hands. But I only found it obstructive and threw it away. Third brother happened to enter the ward, watching the peace amulet fall to the ground. He looked up, staring fixedly at my face. "Mia, you just threw away this peace amulet like that?" I frowned, my voice calm. "A dirty thing, can't I not want it anymore?" Third brother's chest heaved violently, his eyes full of stinging pain and fury. He suddenly lifted his foot to step on the peace amulet, grinding it harshly, sneering mockingly. "Mia, you've really been spoiled heartless. You're just an ungrateful wolf. No wonder Julian would rather choose Iris than you. Noah." Eldest brother interrupted him, his tone somewhat heavy. Third brother, with red eyes, gazed deeply at me, trying to find even the slightest trace of sadness or regret on my face. But what he saw was only my face as calm as dead water. Third brother trembled with anger, a suppressed low growl rolling from his throat. Mia. This peace amulet is Julian's. It was just lent to you. What right do you have to throw it away? My heart was unexpectedly peaceful, and I said faintly, I'll compensate her. My calmness completely enraged the third brother. He pointed at me and shouted angrily, still putting on an act. Since that's the case, go beg for a peace amulet right now. 1,000 steps, missing even one doesn't count. Eldest brother wanted to speak to stop it, but was halted by third brother's glance. Obviously, he also thought this was a good opportunity to temper my temper. My knife wound wasn't serious, they were convinced this was my show to attract attention. When we arrived at the mountain temple outside the city, it suddenly started raining. The 1,000 steps were washed slippery and cold by the rainwater. I knelt straight down. The wound soaked in the rainwater, piercing pain spreading throughout my body. But I acted as if I couldn't feel it, only repeatedly telling myself this was the last time, as repayment to third brother. I don't know how long I knelt. Finally, I obtained that new peace amulet. I was soaked through, my head starting to feel dizzy and hot. Pushing open the Shin family door, I happened upon a lively celebration banquet. Iris was surrounded by everyone, holding the physics award trophy, smiling like a flower. And my appearance instantly broke this harmony. Eldest brother frowned first and scolded, Mia. Look at yourself, where is there any trace of the Shin family, young miss? Everyone's gazes fell on me uniformly, with contempt, impatience, but solely without concern. I ignored the surrounding gazes, walking straight to Iris and placing the peace amulet in her hand. Iris shrank back her hand in flattered surprise, but a flash of triumph passed in her eyes. Sister Mia, don't be like this, I don't mean to blame you. I couldn't be bothered to look at her green tea appearance and turned to leave. Behind me came the scolding voices of eldest and third brothers. I pretended not to hear, walking straight into my room, locking the door. From the drawer, I took out the already prepared blade and without hesitation slashed toward my wrist. The instant blood surged out, I actually felt an unprecedented ease. From outside came the second brother's knocking. Mia, open the door, I have something to say to you. I was on my last breath, without even the strength to open my mouth. Third brother's impatient voice rose, ignore her. She's definitely throwing a tantrum and pretending to be pitiful again, spoiling her more and more outrageously. Second brother ultimately didn't persist, his footsteps gradually fading. I finally closed my eyes as wished, my soul floating lightly up. Just as my soul floated to midair, the room door was suddenly slammed open. Eldest brother rushed in with a livid face, followed by second and third brothers. Mia, you again. The voice stopped abruptly, the floor full of crimson entering their view. My soul suspended in midair, I clearly saw everyone at the door instantly freeze. Second brother staggered over, shaking hands pressing firmly on the wound on my wrist. His face was extremely pale, his voice almost squeezed from his throat. Mia, don't scare brother, call the doctor, quick, call the doctor. The wound on his leg cracked open again due to the violent movement, but he was oblivious, just staring desperately and helplessly at the eldest brother at the door. Eldest brother also reacted, roaring at the servants outside, call the family doctor up to stop Mia's bleeding. The doctor stumbled in, wrapping thick gauze around my wrist, but bright red blood still seeped through. The doctor was sweating profusely, reached out to feel my neck, hesitating, Sir, miss, she has already. Eldest brother's eyes were a patch of crimson, he didn't dare look at my wound, only staring fixedly at the doctor. Shut up. Prepare the car. We're going to the hospital immediately. Third brother was completely stunned, he stared fixedly at the glaring red on my wrist, suddenly his legs weakened, kneeling on the ground, repeatedly muttering, it's not an act. Mia, it's not an act. Julian followed at the back, his indifferent expression suddenly cracking upon touching the scene in the room. Iris's eyes were panicked, soon tearfully rushing into the room. Mia, how could this happen? It's all my fault, if I had explained clearly to you earlier, this wouldn't have happened. She wanted to approach, but was suddenly choked by the third brother. Iris. Didn't you say that if we did as you said, favoring you and neglecting Mia, she wouldn't complete the task and choose to stay? Why has Mia had an accident now? It's you who harmed Mia. Third brother roared like a wild beast, continuously applying force to her neck. Iris's face instantly turned red, kicking her legs in breathing difficulty. The room was in chaos, cries and scoldings interwoven. I couldn't be bothered to think about the meaning in third brother's words, only feeling irritated. Having finally died with great difficulty, why couldn't I leave yet? When I get back, I must find a way to complain about this broken system. Just as I was pondering, the system's familiar prompt finally sounded, detected that the main task is completed, prize money has been deposited to the host's designated account. Host body death, transmission channel about to open. I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, no need to stay here watching these people. Detected, Shin family's 3 older brothers at 100% romance meter. Male lead Julian at 100% romance meter. Hidden objective completed. Congratulations, host, your terminal bone cancer will be cured. I froze, then erupted in wild joy. Immediately, my vision went black, I only felt my soul being yanked fiercely. The chaotic sounds in my ears gradually faded. I sincerely said to the chaotic crowd, "Thank you, never see you again." Opening my eyes again, I lay on the familiar hospital bed. The sunlight was just right, sprinkling on the quilt, an unprecedented ease. I was squinting enjoying the sunlight when the ward door was suddenly pushed open. Several doctors rushed in, their faces somewhat strange. "Miss Mia, very sorry, it seems the previous was a machine misdiagnosis. Your new physical report shows you do not have cancer, congratulations." The forcibly maintained calm completely collapsed. I suddenly covered my face, crying heartbrokenly. The doctors were startled by my sudden reaction, but I no longer cared about them. I don't have cancer. I don't have to die. I escaped from that world where everyone hated me. I have a brand new life, a chance to start over. I don't know how long I cried. Finally, I stopped, my voice choked and hoarse. "Thank you, this is really good news." The doctors dragged me through many repeated checks, confirming I was fine before discharging me. I went to the bank first thing. Looking at the string of numbers in the account, I slowly sighed in relief. The system's voice sounded again, "Host, I'm leaving. Some truths, do you still want to know?" I rubbed the bank card without speaking. Although this unreliable system threw me into another world and ignored me for 15 years, ultimately it gave me a second life. After thinking for a moment, I still slowly nodded. The female lead Mia with the same name as you died accidentally, causing the entire world's core to collapse. Helplessly, we could only screen suitable people in parallel worlds as the female lead substitute. And you, with the same name as the female lead, terminally ill and life in danger, became the optimal choice. The system's inorganic voice was somewhat guilty. "Very sorry, but preventing world collapse is our task." I was slightly stunned, then thought it through. "It's fine, at least I gained health and prize money." The system sighed in relief, its voice suddenly tinged with gritted teeth. "As for that Iris, she's no ordinary person, she's another player. Her task was to absorb the luck of important characters in that world. When I first sent you over, before I could explain the details to you, her system implanted a virus, forcing me to hibernate." I lowered my eyes, recalling those years felt dazed like a previous life. Being sent to a strange world, I was naturally panicked. But in those years, the brothers' love and Julian's gentleness soothed all my unease. My heart still couldn't help but ache. The past beauty wasn't fake, but the later hurts were all real too. But before going dormant, I made one final interference. I had you enter the world as a 6-year-old child. By the time Iris found you, you'd already spent over a decade together, forming an incredibly deep bond. Even when Iris revealed your true identity as a conqueror, they didn't care at all. My state of mind was incomparably wondrously peaceful. I sighed, even with such deep emotions. Didn't they ultimately choose Iris? The system also sighed humanely. "No, host, Iris saw this method was useless, so she fabricated a lie. She told them that once you complete the quest, I'll immediately send you out of that world. So she urged them to play along with her act, deliberately ignoring you to make the system believe you're incapable of finishing the task. At that point, I'll abandon you and leave you permanently trapped in that world. The truth revealed, yet I couldn't generate any emotions. The day after day neglect, misunderstandings, and hurts were actually based on their love for me. I only felt all this was absurdly ridiculous. The system's voice softened. Host, I know you've suffered many grievances. Now they have learned the truth and live in endless regret every day. If you need, before leaving, I can open the channel once more for you, letting them apologize to you in person. I looked at the bustling traffic outside the window, silent for a long time. They regretted it, so what? No need. I spoke lightly, my voice firm. No matter their purpose, those hurts are already engraved in my heart. More apologies won't change anything, only adding trouble. The system didn't force me, its voice becoming cheerful. Okay host, then wish you the rest of your life safe and joyful, no more grievances or illnesses. Goodbye. I returned to the orphanage where I grew up. Since Dean Grace passed away, it closed due to lack of funds. The dilapidated building no longer had its former liveliness, the courtyard walls covered in moss, the iron gate rusted. I stood outside the door, my eyes slightly heating. When very young, I was abandoned at the orphanage door. It was Grace who picked me up and raised me. She was once the only warmth in my life, but passed away from illness during my university time. Before I could repay her, I lost the only family in this world. She always said, Mia, be a person with light in your heart. I remembered this sentence for many years. Now that I have the ability, naturally I must guard this warmth for her. Spending 3 months, I renovated the orphanage anew. I renamed the orphanage Sunshine. Hoping I can illuminate these helpless children like Grace illuminated me back then. I gradually adopted many orphans. Looking at the children's timid yet full of longing eyes, I seemed to see my former self. I imitated Grace's manner, accompanying the children every day. There was a little girl in the yard who always hid in the corner. One day she suddenly stuffed a crayon drawing to me. The drawing had a group of little people and a taller girl, with crooked writing beside, Sister Mia and us. She said softly, being Sister's family, I'm very happy. At that moment, I couldn't hold back anymore, my eyes reddened, hugging her tightly. After 3 years, I finally had my own home again, my personally chosen family. Next to the orphanage, a new flower shop opened, the owner named Leo, a boy with gentle brows and eyes. He often came with freshly trimmed flower bouquets. He never disturbed too much, just quietly helped me care for the children, occasionally teaching them to recognize different flowers. Leo was a very sensible person. He remembered I didn't like strong floral scents, each time he sent light and elegant varieties. When I mentioned Grace, he listened quietly, then softly said, Grace must be very proud of you. When I occasionally felt sad due to past pains, he didn't sensationalize or pry, just accompanied me sitting in the yard, watching the children play, until I recovered myself. Our relationship slowly warmed in such plain yet warm interactions, becoming an ambiguity others could see. Those shadows of past neglect and misunderstandings were gradually smoothed in Leo's gentle companionship and the children's pure smiles. I thought such happiness would continue forever. Until one afternoon, the system's panicked voice suddenly sounded in my mind, Host, please save that world. My hand movement paused. I already have no relation to that world. The system's voice was extremely anxious. I know you don't want to go back, but that world is in peril, about to completely collapse. The you in that world didn't die, they sent you to the hospital, sustaining life with machines, becoming a vegetable. They established a lab, stripping out Iris's system, daily interrogating ways to wake you. Now even believing in metaphysics, daily cutting wrists to bleed for sustaining your life, the entire world's order is in chaos. I was silent. I didn't expect them to be paranoid to this extent. After a long time, I sighed, I'm going back, not because of attachment, just don't want to see a world collapse because of me. Thank you, host. I'll send you back right now. Before the words fell, a familiar pulling sensation swept my whole body. my vision turned to a cold pure white. I was directly transmitted outside the hospital's ICU. The corridor was filled with the smell of disinfectant, making one's stomach churn. Behind the ICU's glass door lay a familiar yet strange body. That was Mia's body, face pale as paper. Her body was inserted with various tubes, connected to nearby life support instruments. The jumping curves on the screen were her only proof of being alive. And guarding by the bed was a figure thinned out of shape. Third brother Noah. He used to always meticulously wear a white coat, softly telling me interesting things from experiments. But now, his hair was messily stuck to his forehead, the originally fitted white coat hanging loosely like on a skeleton. He lay like that by the bed, one hand tightly holding the wrist of the person on the bed, eyes emptily staring at the instrument screen, as if his soul had already departed. I pushed the door and walked in, footsteps on the floor. Noah seemed to have his start button pressed, suddenly lifting his head. He opened his mouth, but for a long time made no sound, only a hoarse gasp rolling from his throat, like an old bellows pulling. Mia? He probed, opening his mouth, voice hoarsely unrecognizable. Is it you? Is it really you? I sighed. You've lost a lot of weight. His tears fell uncontrollably, carefully picking up the pastry on the table and handing it to me. I know you love this. I bought out all in the city, try it. I took it, placed it aside, tone flat, too sweet, I don't like it anymore. Third brother's hand suddenly paused, tears falling more fiercely. I ignored his sadness, saying, call eldest brother, second brother, and Julian over, I have something to say. They came quickly, footsteps approaching from afar. Second brother Lucas leaned on a crutch, one leg obviously lame. His face was paler than third brother's, eyes unable to hide fatigue and decadence. The once spirited big star, who always protected me, now couldn't even stand steadily. And eldest brother Ethan, the always calm and composed Shin family head who controlled everything, wore a black long-sleeve shirt, but one could still see the densely packed scars faintly exposed at the wrist, new and old intermingled, shocking to the eye. Eldest brother spoke first, with an undisguisable tremble, you're back. Second brother staggered to me, eyes red, Mia, brother is sorry, hit me, scold me, it's fine, don't leave again, okay? They excitedly stepped forward wanting to grab my arm. I frowned and stepped back, full of impatience, don't come over. Suddenly, urgent footsteps came from the corridor. It was Julian. I almost didn't recognize him. Once, he was the most dazzling existence in the Beijing circle. But now, his hair was all white, eyes carrying a paranoia on the verge of madness. He stared fixedly at me, walking step by step, Mia, my Mia. He wanted to reach out to hug me, but I sidestepped to avoid. His hand froze in midair, face deep in despair, Mia, we know we were wrong, give us another chance, okay? I came back only because this world is about to collapse. I don't want more innocent people implicated because of your paranoia. My gaze swept over the lifeless body on the bed, tone full of sarcasm. Stop deceiving yourselves, you think sustaining her life with machines, doing those useless metaphysics daily, she can wake up? Mia died long ago, what's lying now is just a soulless living dead. No. It's not like that. Julian roared in despair, aren't you back now? My lab has already researched results, stripping Iris's system. I sneered, interrupting him, your so-called research is just torturing others in more cruel ways, using self-harm to numb yourselves. A figure suddenly burst through the door, brandishing a knife as she lunged at me. Mia. It's all your fault I ended up like this. It was Iris. I barely recognized her. Her face was covered in hideous scars. One eye was gone, the empty socket sending a chill down my spine. Julian reacted fastest, delivering a vicious kick to her chest the instant she lunged forward. Iris let out a piercing scream as she flew backward, crashing heavily to the ground. She lay on the ground, blood continuously surging from her mouth. Mia, you won't die well. They destroyed everything of mine, all because of you. Her words unfinished, she breathed her last. Julian ignored her, only carefully looking at me. Mia, I've avenged you. I cold laughed, but weren't you the ones who hurt me? I no longer looked at their pale faces, saying deeply, "System, turn off the life support instruments." The long beep echoed in the silent room, completely shattering their last fantasies. In everyone's incredulous eyes, I spoke again. "Mia is already dead, you forcibly keeping this body will only destroy this world." Julian was unusually silent, the paranoia in his eyes growing stronger. "Mia, I won't let you go." He took out a palm-sized instrument from his pocket and pressed the button. The system immediately emitted a piercing alarm. "Warning. Detected unknown energy interference. Transmission program blocked. This is the energy blocker Noah and I jointly developed, specifically to stop the system from taking you away." Julian walked toward me, eyes with mad possessiveness. "You're crazy." I was furious, raising my hand to slap him hard. But he only held me tightly. "I am crazy. From the moment you died, I went crazy." His voice carried a sob. "Mia, don't leave me, please. I can't be without you." Eldest, second, and third brothers said nothing, but the identical paranoia in their eyes told me they thought the same. Unknowingly, my tears had fallen all over my face. I forcefully wiped my face, suddenly calming down. "Do you know? I'm actually an orphan. Once, I really wanted to stay here forever. Compared to those prizes and everything in the real world, your love was what I coveted most." My gaze calmly swept over these people in front of me in agony. Now I already have a new home, people who truly care about me. I won't stay here anymore. At worst, I die again. Anyway, this life was picked up. Julian's hand holding me loosened, the paranoia in his eyes gradually replaced by despair. "I'll let you go. I'll let you go." He released me, suddenly picked up the fruit knife on the ground, and without hesitation stabbed into his own heart. He fell to the ground, eyes still looking at me with attachment. "Mia, what I owe you. I've repaid with my life, don't hate me, okay?" I turned my head away, tears still falling, but my heart was unusually firm. Energy interference lifted, transmission program about to start. I felt the familiar pull on my body. Before leaving, I heard their low sorry, voices full of regret and despair. But I no longer looked back. Leo was flying kites with the children in the yard. Seeing me return, he was full of worry. "Where did you go? Are you okay? I looked for you for a long time." My heart warmed. "Nothing, just went to handle some past matters. Those people I once loved and hated, from now on, have nothing to do with me."